the first 10 seconds, it's like, I'm responsible now. I'm a father, and then it cuts away, and it's like, what's next, Dom? And it's like, wait, what have you changed? You're a father, but you're still doing shit.
Because here's the thing, like, how are they going to tie this thing up, right? Like, I'm watching the trailer now. Like, I've got it on mute, right? And because I watched it last night, and I'm watching it, I'm just sort of listening to it, and it's like, okay, they're in the farmhouse, they got this kid, da 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 da, da. And then what they need to explain is why does his brother have a bunch of goons, a super army, and what do they have to do with Dom? Like, what are they going to do now? Are they going to kill him, or I don't know, dude.
And not to mention, like, you don't even get to see who his brother is. It's a weird moment.
I can't see him.
Glad you picked that one up.
Yeah, but like, okay, it seems as if like Vin Diesel is just wanting to get the best superstars from WWE, and then it's just like, yeah, he's my brother, he's my family. I'm like, well, okay, that's cool and all. You bring in these star-studded people because first it was The Rock, and then there was UFC star Gina Carano, and then I don't know who else that I can really think of, but like now it's John Cena. And what else could he be doing? Like, if and also actually a really interesting note was that Charlize Theron from the previous one is coming back.
My disadvantage, I literally stopped watching after halfway through 4, so from, I'm going to say 4.5 up to 8.
Oh, you haven't seen the rest?
No, it like for me, it just kind of got really dull and really unoriginal after the third film. Like, I started watching fourth one, and I literally got halfway through, and I was just like, okay, cool, it's just going to be the same shit all over again, and I lost interest. I'm like 9. I'm like, really? I'm like, let's have a look, see and see what it is, and that's why I've literally now called it family, 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 number 9.
Well, yeah, okay, so you've missed out quite a bit, but essentially, I think you haven't missed. The weird thing is, you probably haven't missed out a lot because after four, they just turn into superheroes, or they turn into like the CIA's best assets to use to take down, like, I don't know, terrorists or some shit. And then if you haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw, eh,
Your excitement sells it for me.
well, it was good. Don't get me wrong. It's you don't have to think too hard. It's mindless action, and then obviously The Rock is bringing his swagger into it, and then you've got Jason Statham, bringing in his British humor and blah blah blah, and then it's just Idris Elba, and then that's sort of it. Oh, and let's not forget I think there was another lady there from Mission Impossible. I can't remember, but it's just another extension of the Fast and Furious, and then it's like, okay, again, just mindless action.
And literally, even like just watching the trailer, that's just what it exuberated. Like, you've got that little snippet at the end where Dom's brother gets picked up by the stealth plane. I
Oh
forgot
my
what they call it. It's
god.
got like a magnetic grab, and then like they said like, oh my god, they got magnetic planes getting cars now. Oh my god! And then Dom's like, well, I can do better, and literally drives into a bridge, hooks it to the car, and appears that he's going to use it as a swing. So it's like, okay, you're trying something different, but it's really been done to death, because I remember watching the trailers where The Rock was in it, where he literally had a chain attached to a helicopter and he was pulling the helicopter with a chain. So I'm just like, you've already gone over the top. So, like, maybe you should, maybe possibly before production, look in going to a different direction other than the unreasonably and unrealistic attack.
Yeah, and then there was also a little bit of in Hobbs and Shaw where the Rock actually, it kind of looks as if like he's trying to hang on to the helicopter and trying to keep it from. I think he was holding on to some sort of car or a truck and was holding on to the helicopter, trying not to pull it away. And I'm like, okay, this is a very Captain America sort of move.
And these are supposed to be people, mind you. People.
Yeah, it's supposed to be people, and they're now apparently superheroes. So, or they're like the best of the earth to take down terrorists. The only thing that I will probably have to finish off on that particular trailer is the last part where Han comes back. I'm like, you can't be serious, man.
I, when I saw that, I was kind of like, are you that desperate to bring life back into the series that you need to bring back a character who's been gone for a while? Like, cool, good luck, but how are you going to explain that?
Oh, and you haven't even seen the other movies, so it's just like, okay, Han could have done this, Han could have done this, but then it's like, okay, because you've seen Too Fast, Too Furious. Sorry, you've seen Tokyo Drift, yeah?
Yeah, that's literally the last full movie I watched.
Yeah, there you go. So then all the other movies right after it, like Han was actually in them, and then you see apparently those are supposed to be like prequels to Tokyo Drift, and then Tokyo Drift is supposed to be his thing where he dies and shit, and then now he just comes back, and I'm just like, how? How does he come back? And here's the thing: I won't if I'm gonna see this, which I probably will. Um, I will not be happy with the explanation going, oh yeah, it was a setup or whatever, because that means that the whole Jason Statham arc and him like trying to get his brother Shaw, is it Shaw or whatever, and I forgot the name. He's just like, oh yeah, it's just Dominic Toretto, blah blah blah. Like he's killed Han essentially in Tokyo Drift, and then so now they're all going like, I think it was on Twitter, it was like hashtag justice for Han. And I'm like, okay, justice. What justice? If he's coming back, so that means that Statham eventually would probably have to die or something to get that vengeance, because Dom's not going to like whatever. Because okay, I digress. I was thinking about this the other night, right? The Fast and the Furious, it just reminds me of anime, man.
Anime, okay.
Yeah, okay, okay. No, no, hear me out. So it's just like, you get like these the group heroes, blah blah blah. Every enemy, it's kind of like an anime where every enemy that they've sort of fought either doesn't die, and then just joins their rank. Like I think that happened. What was it after four? Like obviously the first one you had those other guys die. The second one, I can't remember the second one. Yeah, he went off to jail. The third one was Tokyo Drift. Han died, but now he's back. The fourth one, I think that was the one where they steal the money from the vault. But then after that, like you had The Rock join the ranks, and then that other girl joined the ranks, and then somewhere down the line there was a couple of people that joined, and then they died. Like it kind of feels like an anime where like every time he gets somebody and he's like, yeah, my familia, my family, and I'm just like, okay, like it just, I don't know. The other night I just thought it kind of felt like an anime in some sense, in some weird, sick, twisted sense.
Yeah, no, I can make those connect those dots. So I can see what you're getting at, and yeah, it makes sense. I actually, yeah. Like, I'm sure if I watched 4 to 8, I'd probably end up coming up with the same idea. And
That's a big if though.
yeah, I know. Honestly, like, end of the day, 9's not even a blip on my radar because I just feel like it's just the same dribble that it's been delivering for the last God knows how many years now. So I probably wouldn't. If it appears on a streaming service, sure, maybe I might give it a squeeze. It is, but I'd have to be very bored.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, I'm gonna move on from that one to. Okay, I think one of the out of all the stuff that we're talking about in terms of the three that we're looking at, the big surprising one, I did not expect this. Like freaking Spiral from the Book of Saw. So you've got Chris Rock as a detective, and then you got Samuel L. Jackson with an unknown. We don't know what character he's supposed to play, but obviously he's in there yelling at, "Damn you, motherfucker!" Like doing his Samuel L. Jackson, doing his Samuel L. Jackson. But I did not expect that Saw would actually sort of continue.
No, and definitely not with Chris Rock as what appears to be sort of like a lead role. Bit surprising, but I mean, the trailer hasn't really given away too much detail yet, apart from what's been revealed in the voiceover by Chris Rock and saying that, seems like they're now targeting police officers now, which I think will be a bit of a different twist. But I mean, the original still kind of centered around the police officer anyway, so I don't know where it's going to go. And at the moment, like after watching it, my big question is between Chris Rocks and Samuel L. Jackson, like who's going to be the serious role, or who's going to be the comic relief, or are they going to just bounce off each other? I don't know, but yeah, the whole Samuel L. Jackson moment where he said we're going to play a game, motherfucker. I giggled internally like a little child, so that gave me a bit of nostalgia. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this.
Yeah, that's actually a really great word, intrigued, because I didn't get any comedy vibes from Chris Rock actually. He looked mad serious, and I'm just like, this is a really interesting turn for him, I think, because it's kind of like it reminds me a bit like Robin Williams late in his career, where he actually tried to do some really serious roles, and that creepy one, which was what was it, 24-hour photograph or something, or
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, that was actually really well done by him.
yeah, someone can totally like know this when they hear this, but like yeah, that photograph movie where he's stealing all those what they used to say, the repeats, or the secondary copies or third copies of photographs. God.
It makes you have to think back to the days when we actually used to develop film.
Oh my God, that's why I'm struggling with the freaking word. But like, yeah, he used to seal those. So Chris Rock in this direction doing Spiral, book from the Book of Saw, I think is a really good career choice for him, because I'm just like, okay, you're getting older. We've seen your comedy, but at the same time, it's like he's kind of been out of the game from acting. I haven't really seen anything or even been interested in anything recently from him. And then this trailer just drops, and I'm just like, okay, this is something that, okay, I definitely would want to see. And I hate horror films. I hate Saw actually.
I've actually never. Well, I didn't mind the first few. Like it come across as something new, something fresh, something that was different to what was on. But then it just kind of really just got really pushy and just kind of overdone it for me. So just like Fast and Furious, I kind of dropped off after a few. But this looks like, particularly with Chris Rock taking the lead, and yeah, I agree with you. He's looking like he's going to take a serious role, because the first 3 seconds you see him on screen, he looks rugged, he looks tired. He's actually got that like rundown beat cop kind of look to him. So I will give this a chance, and hope that something can be delivered that's going to put a bit more breath into the actual genre. But hopefully, nothing that they've done before gets repeated again, because that would piss me off.
And I totally agree with you on the point of with the whole, like, as it was like Saw 3, Saw 4, Saw blah blah blah, then the who was it, the girl who was his predecessor, like I heard of them, but I never actually watched them. I only watched the first Saw, and then that's it. I never watched anything else, because that ending, like when I realized what happened in the ending, and then you hear that crescendo of that music, that legit just like scared the Jesus out of me. Like it, it oh, like I couldn't even watch the second film, because I was that, I shouldn't say traumatized, it probably is the right word, but I was just mortified by that ending. Like, you remember the ending for the first one?
Yeah, yeah, where he's like literally the character who you thought was a dead corpse or dying corpse ends up being Saw himself, and he just gets up and walks out and like, well, you're done now.
Oh, not even that. It was definitely also it was definitely that, but it was definitely a combination of the other factors, where the guy is like, I'm gonna go get help after he's chopped off his arm, right? So he's gone off and dragged himself out. But then the guy who's actually in the bathtub, the lights go off, and then you realize that he had everything. He had the key, but it literally reminds you and harkens you back to the first like couple of frames of the movie, where the key is already gone in the first like minute of the movie. You remember that? Like it was glowing, I think.
Oh, I cannot remember that far back to the first one right now, but probably something I'll do a refresher before this one comes.
And I'm totally admitting that I didn't watch that ending thing. I just remembered that so vividly, because it was just that mortifying for me, that the guy who's shackled in the bathroom could have the key, but the key had already gone when they had drained the water, and it was attached to, I think, the it was for some stupid reason was attached to the plug, and the plug went down the drain as well. So I'm just like, wait, hold on a second. Why can't a if the plug is supposed to plug up the water, why has it gone down at the same time with the key? Like, I never understood that. But then again, maybe there's things out there where you can have plugging of the water, and then when you move it a certain angle or something, it's gone. It just disappears. But I just remember that completely vividly, where that then Saw just gets up and walks away, which is just creepy in itself. And then yeah, and then the guy who chopped off his arm just like it's just so haggardly like he's running out of blood. He's probably gonna die before he even like crawls out of the building. And he's like, I gotta get help. I was just like, no, you're donezo, bro. And then when the light turned off and you just hear the guy screaming in the bathtub, and I'm like, oh, that ain't cool because literally he has nothing now. He can't even reach the saw. I don't think he can't even do anything. He literally has to sit there and starve.
Which again, like that's what that scene is really what cemented Saw in the genre. It's like you've got that combination of suspense, horror, beautiful score in the background that's running with it, the
Yes.
cinematography with the lighting, everything just delivered that scene perfectly, and that's what I'm hoping that they kind of get that feeling back for this one. That whole dread, the fear, the anxiety that really made the first film what it was.
And the crescendo of music as well, where it's just like he's explaining it, or like you get these flashbacks, and then it's all up to that point where I think Saw is just like he's just talking to him and actually explaining it to him, and then it's just like all right, time to go. And he just closes the door, and the guy's just screaming his head off, and the music's just like really loud and it's crescendoed, and then blip, it just disappears. So that end scene was just like ugh. And plus, also as well, we're talking about a movie that was the reason why it was such a success is because the guys who were behind it. It was actually I think one of them was the guy who was actually directing it. He was the guy in the bathtub. He was an Australian. And then the other one was oh god, he was this Asian director who did what's it called? Who did he also did Fast and the Furious as well actually, but I forgot his name. Shit, I gotta get his name now. That's it, James Wan.
There you go. Didn't take you that long at all.
Nope. So yeah, James Wan actually silly me. He's also actually considered as Australian as well, and he's got a slew of stuff underneath his belt.
Oh, there you go. Aussie's doing us proud.
Exactly. Like he did Saw 3, he did Aquaman, Furious 7, The Conjuring. Man, the guy knows his horror, and um yeah, just completely. Oh yeah, and also he's involved, I believe, with the 2021 movie, unyet released but has been announced, Mortal Kombat movie.
Please don't hurt me like again. Don't hurt me again, Mortal Kombat, please.
Right? Mortal Kombat Annihilation. What utter gutter trash.
Uh,
The first one was good, but the second one was trash.
they killed it as soon as Cage died. That is where that movie died.
Right? Like, how could you kill off Johnny Cage?
Oh, literally. Anyway, we're digressing again. We're digressing again.
Come back, come back!
Unlike Johnny Cage.
Johnny. Okay, so then with the last one, Blake Lively, like I wouldn't expect her to do. Actually, this is again another one out of left field because I did not expect her to kind of do something actiony like her famous, of course, husband, who was Ryan Reynolds. But I think it's a welcome change of pace for her because obviously Blake Lively has done her rom coms, has done her, you know, um, you know, films of sorry, TV series of girls and sex and all that shit and whatever. Kind of gone through that, and now she's doing actually a revenge film.
Yes, which will be interesting. And as you pointed out, her previous work, like the most one that hurts the most is that stupid Shallows, which is just oh god, that movie was boring. But yeah, this one just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Hasn't really made a blimp on any radar that I've actually noticed, but and hadn't been on my radar until you actually sent it across and was just like, hey, have a look at this one. And it does look interesting. I will say, Blake Lively, as you said, stepped into a revenge role, which pairing up with Jude Law could be interesting to see. Not too sure whether they've. I know. Jude Law's got that rep that follows him, so hoping it doesn't come out in the final cut, but interesting to see how they go together.
Jude Law's annoying.
Yes, he was as entertaining as paint drying on the wall in Captain Marvel. So,
Oh, was he? I still haven't seen that.
he was just, yeah. I won't say anymore because I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, I'm guessing he just wanted that hero money, but I don't know what it is with me for Jude Law. He's just, I don't know. I just I don't click with him in terms of his acting and stuff. But I am going to actually say that The Shallows I thought was brilliant.
I just wasn't a fan. I don't know what it is. Like, it just, the whole storyline behind it was just, yeah, I don't know. I just sat there, like, pointing out all the things that she could have done better to survive and got really annoyed with how powerful the shark seemed to be. So I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't.
I just like the intensity. And I've completely forgot to say that this movie that we're talking about is called The Rhythm Section. Now, you'd think that, okay, it was kind of like the title of The Rhythm Section was like that Miles Turner movie where he has to play the drums and what was it? That guy from Spider-Man was like so angry and blah, blah, blah. Like, you would think that this was like a continuation of that, but it isn't.
No, oh man, when you just mentioned Drumline, man, that just brought back some nostalgia.
Was it?
But no,
What was it
when I
called? The
first,
Drumline?
yeah, Drumline. That was
Okay.
Drumline. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and that was the one with Miles Turner and that other guy who played James Janet Jones Jameson, whatever his name is, from Spider-Man, the old Spider-Man trilogy.
I'm just looking into it now. Is that the one with the one also got Zoe Saldana in it, or
I have no idea. I don't think it was the drum line because I just looked it up and that's a completely different Whiplash.
there he is.
So the rhythm section, Whiplash, and then freaking J.K. Simmons. I can't believe I forgot his name, but yeah, you would think that this Blake Lively movie would be probably like something like that with Whiplash, but it has absolutely nothing to do. I don't think it has anything to do with rhythm. So obviously, with the trailer where it actually talks about she just wants to get revenge for the people who killed her family, I'm just like, well, you would probably want to add this onto the pile of like other movies with other stars where they've had a female lead that actually wants that revenge. So the ones that come up to my head or off the top of my head would be Jennifer Garner in Peppermint. Uh,
I've seen that one actually.
have you seen that one?
No, I wrote that one down.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And then obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but it has been a long time ago. Jodie Foster in The Brave One.
That was actually a good movie. I'll give that one that.
The weird thing is, like, I haven't been able to get my hands on a copy of that. I really want to watch it because I used to really love Jodie Foster. Like, she was like, A, she was an awesome actress. B, I found her quite appealing. And then C, the Brave One just looked like a great sort of. I remember the trailers. It was like definitely like a vigilante revenge story, and she's just going around just popping fools. I'm just like, okay, this could be interesting.
Yeah. Well, in saying that, like, even after watching the trailer, she looking like she is selling this whole like self-destructive woman on that revenge twist really, really well. Because like my concerns were, given her background of coming from more softer tone films, that she may not have that grit needed. But throughout it, like, she had that attitude. She does have a scene where she does use her own body and her sexuality to get what she wants, which, what, you've got that strength to use it. So I'm giving high hopes of this one.
The other one I also and which I actually totally actually sort of agree, but I'll say something about that in a minute. But how could we not forget Uma Thurman's The Bride in Kill Bill as a revenge story?
One of the greats as well.
Exactly, one of the greats. Now, when you were saying that you had high hopes for this, I kind of have high hopes for it, but the thing that actually brings me back down to earth in terms of being realistic about it and kind of cynical about it is because all the hair changes in the trailer just reminds me of Alias.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I mean?
Where you could have that drawdown, yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, I'm just like, okay, so what? Is she gaining revenge or is she working for a clandestine spy government agency or something? So that's the part where I'm just like, okay, if she wants to get revenge, who does she seek and who is going to be teaching her how to fight and all that stuff? And I remember actually watching just recently, she did an interview with Jimmy Fallon and they showed a part of it. They gave a clip on the show, and it just shows her and Jude Law going at it in terms of fighting. And then at the end of it, she's just like, how about I grab you a cup of tea? Like as if like they're punching and kicking and whatever at each other was just whatever. I don't know. It was just some sort of I don't know. It was a weird scene, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, how about a cup of tea?" And I'm just like, so. Also, as well, I believe that in her accent, she's donning a British accent as well.
Yeah, and it's probably not the greatest British accent, but it's better than most I've heard.
Mm. But I'm definitely wanting to watch that. But I think there is some. I don't think it runs too long. I gotta double check its running time.
Yeah, I think it was only hour and 29, I think. Oh, hour and 49, there we are.
Ooh.
So make it a bit in there. But, like, what really stood out for me was, like, that kind of gives me a bit more high hopes is that, like, a lot of the action scenes were really more down to earth than what's been on cinema lately. So even, there was a slight scene where, like, there was a car explosion. The car explosion wasn't overdone. It was a very maintained explosion as to what you would actually expect to see if a car exploded. So I'm going to enjoy that whole nitty gritty because that's something that I like when it's a bit more down to earth and a bit more really low key, similar to the so along the same lines of John Wick, being like,
Mm.
it's very gritty, very close up, very not needing to go too much explosions, too much craziness. Yeah, there's some crazy scenes in John Wick, but for the better part of it, it's real. It's like you're down there in the grit of it, so it looks like it's going to be one of those films. I'm hoping it is, but got a while till it actually hit cinemas. Well, actually, 90
It's a while
days.
apparently. Like I don't think it comes out here in Australia until like what is it supposed to be? Did you say 9 days or?
Well, 9 days for US by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think it comes out like I don't know end of February for us here in Australia. I can't remember. It's not coming out for a while, but I think it's already out in the well as you say 9 days in the US. So that's still that's still a long time though.
It is, yeah. So I'll give it a chance. Like, see, like, I don't even know what cinemas are actually going to launch in Australia. So, again, it's one of those ones that's kind of under the radar. So, see who picks it up, I guess.
Exactly like Spiral, where yeah, they just dropped the trailer. I'm just like, okay, I didn't really know too much about it, and then she's like, okay, you watch it, and it's I think also I agree with you in terms of the action. It's like where violence is needed. So yes, we do see some gun handling skills. Do see her have a little bit of a knife fight, as well as on a bus, as well as I think we also see her. Well, not sorry, not the knife fight on the bus. We see her hand to hand combat on the bus, which actually look quite. I think yeah, down to earth. It's more. I was about to say Jason Bourne, but Jason Bourne's action scenes are possibly almost quite the worst in terms of cinematography and stuff, because I still remember the first fight scene that he had where he's fighting that guy with a rolled up newspaper and a pen, and just the editing and the cut editing of that was just fucking awful.
Oh man.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that scene, and then I remember actually falling asleep right after it. So Bournes didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, it was just blurry. It was just. Ugh. So I'm hoping that with the fight scene that we saw in the trailer with on the bus and stuff, it's not cut edited and all that shit, but it's got to be kind of like what you said. Not even kind of like, it has to be like John Wick, where um enough of the cut editing, just bring it back and just watch them go to work, watch the training go to work, and whatever, because I really liked one of the frames that I saw her in that fight scene where she utilizes her elbow, right? And that's such a uh, for me, who's also a fan of UFC and mixed martial arts and whatever, even though I don't train it, I do like watching it and spectating, but also seeing it in movies as well. I love seeing that kind of like utilization of something that's not your fists. It's also your elbows and obviously everything else as part of your body where you can contort, you can do a neck choke or whatever, but you use your knees and your elbows and stuff, not necessarily including Muay Thai, but you know what I mean? It just kind of looks so gritty that I'm hoping that the fight scenes are not like prolonged rubbish, if you know what I mean. It's got to be kind of quick, fast, and get in there, and it's dealing the most maximum damage in the little time that she has, and then she just walks off the bus and whatever. That's kind of my hope for it.
Yes, definitely don't give us a bloody, especially in that bus scene. If the fight starts in the bus and it ends in the bus, awesome. But don't give us something that starts in the bus, ends up in the middle of the city, then somehow ends up at the riverbank, and then ends up on a boat, and then the boat ends up on the bridge, and then they finally enter the bridge. I don't want that. Just get it done.
Yeah, because it doesn't suit, I feel, for the tone of this movie. There's some movies where okay, they go from scene to scene or from room to room for a fight. Sure, that's cool and all. I guess it's something that unfortunately is prolonged in Asian style movies where there's a lot of fighting or a lot of kung fu, a lot of whatever they want to, whatever martial art there is. But they like to sometimes go prolonged. With this one, I don't think that would be right for the tone. So that's why I suggest that it should be short, succinct, and actual maximum brutality. And here's the thing, the reason why we talk about it like this is because John Wick has set the bar.
Yeah, it's set the bar, and it is currently literally the reigning champion of that tone. So it's kind of like you've got to look at that and say, okay, I can't match it with what I have and who I have, but what can I do that'll be true to what I'm filming and to what I want to deliver that will give that same experience?
Yeah, exactly. And don't get us wrong. John Wick is fantasy. There's no cops involved. There's a lot of assassins, and there's some outlandish stuff. But if we had to again go back to the gun fu or the Krav Maga, or even when he's I think I would stem it more from the first movie compared to the second and third, because then they just get crazy in terms of action. But the first movie, I think, was obviously the one that set that bar, where he does have that sort of barehanded fight uh, with Vigo at the end, and then all the times that he gets disarmed and stuff, and also with the rolling around with the jujitsu and mixing that with the gung fu and all that stuff. Yeah, it's it's really good action. And then now that I think about it, sorry, of course, with the barehanded action from John Wick 3, where he had to verse two guys against him, and then he's versing one guy with the katana, and he doesn't have anything in his hands. So the kind of action that they showed, and the dedication, of course, with Keanu Reeves and those all involved, and of course the cinematography gives it that um sort of that realism that you could see their training, come to fruition. And this also, again, I'm sort of ranting, but this also extends to the movie with Charlize Theron, Atomic Blonde.
Yet another one I have not seen yet.
It's very similar to John Wick, but the reason why it actually was reserved in saying Atomic Blonde as a vengeance movie as well is because she works for a government. So, but it is from the same directors of John Wick. So her fights in that as well. Yeah, brutal, just brutal. So I'm hoping that Blake Lively she comes to the table with great action in that. But like you said, we just got to wait until that actually comes into our shores.
Yeah, if and when actually, because yeah, again, it's not one of those ones that's really big on the radar. So high chance that we may not actually get in cinemas, but we'll wait and see. I guess.
Yeah. So okay, so just to top it all off, I'm gonna ask you, in terms of the three trailers, what is the one that you'd want to see most, and the one that you want to see least out of the three that we talked about?
Well, least is definitely going to be Fast Nine because I'm just
God
so
damn it!
done and dead with that whole thing. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
I had the same thing.
I can't. Yeah, that I can't do it. Top one I want to see is it's so tough. Because I liked the Saw series. And seeing Chris Rock in a serious role is going to be good. But again, same for Blake Lively. They're in a serious role. Am I allowed to say it's a tie between
Yes.
Rhythm and okay? It's a draw between the other two and Fast and Furious. I'm not even going to give that a second.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'd have to say the same thing because, but if I had to say one that would edge in front of the other, it's definitely going to be, um, Blake Lively. I'd want to see her and see how things go in that and the revenge, and then obviously with the horror aspect uh, of Spiral, the Book of Saw, that's a close second, and then Family, that could just wait. I'm not even inkling to like I'm not in a hurry to go see it, but eventually I'll see it because I've seen the others, but I'm not in that much of a hurry.
We already have a family, okay?
Well, yeah, that's kind of true. So I think that yeah, out of all the and these are only just like three trailers. There was a whole bunch of other trailers that came out, um but I never told you about them because they're trailers of just like really crappy B grade and C grade movies. Like I'm actually subscribed to a on YouTube to a channel that just punches out trailers, and I'm just like, oh, like I see like the C grade and D grade sort of movies. I'm like, why do people waste their time with this crap?
Because it's one of those things where it's like you have to see it, but you don't have to see it.
I just don't know why I sometimes waste like my 2 minutes and then I just sit there going, I'm such an idiot. I just keep going back for more to see how rubbish they are.
Good old The Room. That's the first one that comes to mind, and I love it.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of people love it. God, I need help.
You ain't gonna get it from me.
You son of a bitch.